Welcome back to Still a Part of Us. We have Victoria here with us. We just had a wonderful, it was like a good hour and a half where we just chatted about her sweet Maddox. And please, if you get a chance, listen to her story. It is heartbreaking and just, but also really beautiful what they were able to do together with him. So Victoria, thank you again for coming on and chatting with us today.
Yeah, thanks.
So as a little bit of reference, will you tell us a little bit about what happened to Maddox and how old he was when he passed away?
Yeah, so Maddox passed away from a suspected silent placental abruption at 23 weeks and 4 days.
Yeah. So he was a little guy, like,
Yeah, he was little. Yeah,
and like sounds absolutely perfect. The fact that he
yeah,
came out in his little water sack just was like,
yeah,
oh yeah, he's
yes,
he's just
yep,
there.
yeah.
And how long ago was he born, so that we have just a little bit of reference for how long it's been?
Yeah, so it's been almost a year and a half. So he was born on March 13th of 2024.
Okay, so
Mhm.
it's been. I'm sure this year and a half has been a little tricky
Yes.
and fun. I
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, because you did allude to this, that the company that you had been working for
hmm
after at the time of Maddox's birth uh, didn't totally handle maternity leave, slash they didn't give you maternity leave for this, and that
Yeah.
I know this is a struggle for a lot of women that
Yeah.
have a stillbirth or something like this. So can you tell us like what happened there, or
Yeah.
what you guys were able to resolve
Yeah,
with
for sure.
that?
So, yeah, during my pregnancy, we had discussed maternity leave and what I was planning on doing. I was going to be their first employee that they had ever had that was going to be having a baby.
Oh,
So they had never done this before. Um, they're a small family owned company and they were navigating this for the first time with me. So they had decided that they were going to give me a week paid leave. When Maddox was born, he was due July 6th. And then if I wanted to take any personal time off, I could also take that.
okay.
So when he passed away, I had informed them that, like I just lost my baby. I'm going to have to go in and deliver him. I'm not going to be into work. So then after I was home and we discussed, I was like, okay, like, are you guys going to give me my maternity leave for this, this week? They said no. And that I was welcome to take personal time that I had. And I was a little confused because I was like, I didn't think they understood the severity of the situation. I didn't think they had realized that I was in labor. I
Yep.
had to deliver my son. I was then recovering from like being postpartum. I had to deal with like my milk supply coming
Yep.
in. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt and was like, tried to explain, like, wait, do you guys understand the severity of
Like
what's
what
going on?
actually
And
happened.
yeah, and that I did just have a baby. No, he wasn't full term, but I did just deliver a baby. I did just have to, make funeral arrangements
Yeah.
for my son. I'm now grieving the loss of my son and what my family looks like now. And I'm postpartum. And they discussed it and they just said, no, we're not going to give you your maternity leave. You can take your paid leave, my paid time off, my PTO that I had saved up. Luckily, I hadn't used any
Yeah.
yet for the year. Um, and the one girl, she had told me, she said, I know this, isn't what you were probably hoping to hear, but we were going to give you maternity leave in the first place because we didn't think it was right for a living baby's mom to have to go back to work right after delivery. So that was infuriating. I worked from home.
Oh,
So I took a week of my personal time off and then went straight back into work from home. And I was so angry, but
yeah.
I was like, this isn't worth my energy right now to try and deal with. I need to grieve my son. I need to make sure my family's okay. I need to make sure that I'm okay before I even start to try and worry about what work
Yeah.
is thinking. So I continued to work for them and just recently, actually, when my daughter was exactly 12 weeks old, they fired me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, blessing in disguise, I think.
Yeah.
Better things are to come. I'm glad I'm not with them anymore. They definitely did not support me at all in the way that anybody should,
Yeah.
especially with them being a locally owned family business. So it's really unfortunate.
That is a shame. That
Yeah.
is really, really messed up.
Yeah.
Is all I can say.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, this is when you told me that you were like, okay, they're giving me 1 week of paid maternity leave. In general, maternity leave as well as family leave or whatever in this country is pretty messed up, I think.
Yeah.
In general.
Yes.
So.
And from someone coming from Canada.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, it's 18 months.
Oh, see? Like,
yeah.
And the dads also get like, they're in on that too. And I'm just like, what are we doing here in the United States? Like, we are so screwed up.
Yeah, it's different for sure. So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes those things are a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And so maybe it will be.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah. Yes,
right? It has to be.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I know that we had talked, you had mentioned earlier that you now have a little girl.
Yeah.
And that probably was a little hard.
Yeah.
In the sense of like being pregnant after loss is real tough.
It is. Yeah. So when Maddox passed away, I feel most people will feel this is, as a lost parent, you leave the hospital with empty arms, and there is such a desire to fill those empty arms. Yeah. So I knew that I wanted my oldest son to grow up with a sibling earthside, and I was so desperate for a baby, not getting to bring Maddox home. So I knew pretty soon after him passing that I did want to try again at some point. I knew it was going to be so difficult. And I think my husband he also was on board with that. I think he was going to need more time.
Okay.
Though.
Yeah.
So we had a period of where we were told to wait because of like medical reasons. Like obviously you just had a baby.
Yes.
You should
please
wait.
recover a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
And then we took a little bit extra time after that medical period until like we are, as ready as we thought we could be. I also was starting to get nervous about the age gap between my oldest and our next, which at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, but it is something you think about.
Yeah.
So my oldest and my daughter, they're like almost exactly 4 years apart.
Okay.
She was born April 21st. He's May 7th.
Okay.
So they're super, super close. But we decided to try again, and we luckily, with all of our kids, we were really blessed to get pregnant easily.
Okay.
And never really struggled there. So we got pregnant really quickly with her. We chose to wait to find out what we were having with her until she was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
A big surprise then.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to wait because I know, because in my head, it's like, if I don't know what I'm having, then I can't prepare. And if I end up in the same situation again as Maddox, then like maybe I won't be as heartbroken, which is not true. You're going to be just as heartbroken regardless if you know the gender or not.
Yep.
But I thought that would help me mentally.
Yeah.
So we chose to wait. And
your husband was on board with that too.
Not really.
Not really?
No.
You're like, I'm not fine.
Yeah. Yes. I think he, like, if he could have had it his way, he would have wanted to find out. But so that was really special. And I think it maybe helped a little bit in the beginning. My pregnancy with her, from finding out I was pregnant to the gestation that I was when Maddox passed away, was fine. Surprisingly,
really,
the first part of it, I was fine. Once we got past my gestation with him, my mental health went so downhill.
Okay. Yeah.
To the point where like I was not able to deal with my emotions myself. So I ended up going to therapy about 10-ish weeks before she was born, to try and help navigate that, because I was mentally exhausted and drained. It is one of, I always say it is the next hardest thing I've ever done after losing my son.
Yeah.
It's so mentally draining. Everything you think is a red flag. You think every little weird like pain or off feeling is something wrong.
Yeah.
And for me, my like trigger was fetal movement, because that's what sent me into the hospital to get checked with Maddox was lack of fetal movement.
Yeah.
And so anytime I felt like I hadn't felt any kicks, I immediately was like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. So I had gone into labor and delivery with her at the same exact same gestation as Maddox, because I thought I couldn't feel kicks. I went in, everything was just fine. Okay. They found her heartbeat and, reassured me. And the hospital, that the group, that they're so good. They make you feel no shame about going in to get checked. Like,
that is so great.
If anything is off, they're like, please, like, better safe than sorry. You're not a burden. Like, we have no problem doing heart tones. So after that, I bought a home Doppler.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. And then I would use that. And then as, the days got closer to her delivery, I became so OCD about it. And I was getting to the point where I couldn't leave the house because I needed it right there with me. There was a few times that I had gone into the office for work and I took my Doppler with me so that I could, run out to my car and check. But it was crippling. Like, to not have that in arm's reach to use was so, so difficult. And so then, I seeked out help through therapy, and, it helps, but also at the same time, pregnancy after loss, there's no relief until they're here in your arms.
No. And I don't think people realize that. I was just like, the level of anxiety that is, I mean, you just have regular anxiety when you're pregnant, I think. Yep. But then when you've had a loss, you're just like, I can lose the baby anytime.
Yeah.
And I can do like nothing. I can maybe just be walking along and then my baby dies. Like, it just sounds terrible to say that way. But that level of anxiety is just higher.
Yeah.
And it's kind of there. And you just, I don't know. I've always described it as like, I felt like I held my breath for 9 months.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the amount of like relief and weight that is lifted off of you once they're here. Like when I was induced at 37 weeks.
You were
with
okay.
Her.
Okay.
They didn't want me to go all the way full term to 40 weeks, just I think to eliminate risk of anything happening.
Yeah.
So they gave me the option of whether I wanted a 37 or a 38 week induction. Okay. I was shooting for a 38 week just to like let the baby cook a little bit longer. But my anxiety, it was so bad. I got to the point where like I didn't want to use my Doppler, but I was so
driven to.
Yeah. It's like I had to be able to move on to like the next thing in my day. So we went in, and at that point I was getting weekly doctor's appointments. With her, I was being seen every 2 weeks throughout my whole pregnancy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was at the doctor's office lots. And my very last checkup with her prior to going in for my induction, there were 2 days of the week. I could have chosen a Monday or a Thursday. I had chosen the Thursday, and my intuition told me if I go in for this next appointment and a spot has opened up for Monday, I'm going to take that as a sign that I need to take that spot and go in a few days earlier.
Okay.
So a spot did happen to open up.
Really?
And we took it and we went in, and my labor and delivery with her was also just so positive. Good. It was terrifying because I was so triggered by the heart rate monitors, but like my epidural worked great. Okay. She came in 2 pushes.
Oh my gosh.
It was just she was my third baby. So like naturally I feel like they can come a little bit quicker. But when she was born, her cord was around her neck.
It was.
Yeah. So I was like I listened, and that was my sign that, because you never know in those
Especially
3
when they start
days.
getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Like, it,
Yeah.
oh my
So
gosh, that gives me chills.
I know my doctor, she was born, and my doctor announced what it was. She just went, "She's here." And I was like, oh, I just sobbed. And then I was back to that, like relief and just weight lifted off as soon as like she cried right away, just like my
She
oldest
did.
did. Yeah. And I sobbed. I cried with my oldest as well, but it was so different.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm so glad you're here and you're okay and you're healthy, but I'm also so relieved that this chapter of my life
This part,
is
yeah.
done, and I am okay with that.
Yeah.
It's hard to decide when you're done having kids, but I I don't think I could go through it again mentally. And just that feeling of relief of
Yeah.
like, she's here, she's
Yeah.
okay, like we did it.
Yeah.
We've been through so much together, and it was just a huge rush
Yeah.
of like, I can breathe.
I know,
right?
you can breathe.
It can breathe.
Oh my gosh, it is. Yes, and when you said that, I was like, yes, exactly. And then hearing them cry,
Yeah.
you're just, because you mentioned in your birth story that silence
Yeah.
when everybody's, and you're softly crying, but it is so silent,
Mhm.
and that in itself is so loud.
Yeah.
Just that void is
Yep.
horrible, and so to hear your baby cry after,
Yeah.
that is, oh, it is rough, you guys.
Yeah.
Pregnancy after loss and the parenting after loss is that can be hard.
Yeah.
Too.
And it's hard, like going into a pregnancy after loss, like willingly knowing that you are about to go through something
Yeah.
so hard, regardless if you've had a loss, because
Yeah.
pregnancy is hard, but then you add on the loss part on top of it as well. It's like, I'm willingly
Yes.
about to do this again. Like, can I do this? And I saw a quote somewhere about like, pregnancy after loss, and it was that hope has to be stronger than fear. And I was like, yeah, but yeah, that's so true. It really, it does. Like, you can't let it take over.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be devastated from the loss of your child, but then you also mourn potentially like not having another child
and missing the rest of the way your family is supposed to look. And yeah, that is, yeah, it's so weird the way things work out. I think it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk about your and your husband, the way you guys have mourned and grieved. How has that looked for the two of you, and as a couple, and then also individually? Have you noticed any differences there?
I definitely think we've mourned and grieved very differently.
Mm-hmm.
I am usually the one to like start conversations about Maddox and bring him up, and my husband has no problem talking about him. He's just more of a listener. Like, he'll sit there and he'll listen to me talk about him, and things that I have related to Maddox or that I see that remind me of him, or symbolisms of him. And he has his few things as well, but he usually won't start the conversation, which is fine. And that is something his aunt explained to me when I was on my way home from the hospital after finding out that he had passed away, that him and I are going to go through this so differently, and that's okay. And I'm so glad that she told me that, because when I had my miscarriage and was devastated about that, I wanted like physical like embrace and comfort from him. And that's just not how he was dealing with it. And I was mad, because I was like, I'm so upset here. Like, why are you not comforting me? So then when we lost Maddox and she told me that, again, we were at home and I was like, can we just go lay down together? And he was like, I don't want to lay down right now. And I think had she had not told me that, my just natural response would have been to be upset with him. But I just, kind of took a step back and was like, you are also going through this just as much as I am. And this is the way that you need to grieve and handle it right now. And if laying down and, you know, like hugging and whatever isn't what is going to make you feel better right now, like that's okay. And I had no resentment towards him for that. So, but as time has gone on, I honestly don't think we really have there's no proper way to grieve, but that's something that I'm working through in therapy right now, is like, I really don't think I've just let myself grieve about it, because my brain was like, we just need to jump back into life, and I will have another baby here soon. And I just was like, the ball just needs to keep rolling, and I'm just not going to like let myself sit and be in this like grief bubble, which I probably should let myself do sometimes. I think that could, I think it's good for you. Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this right now. Just you telling your story today felt like it was helpful to you. Yeah, it was helpful for me. I think it was helpful for you. Shedding some tears is always very helpful.
It is.
I'm just like, oh, it just helps me, reminds me of my son, and it makes me feel like, yeah, I do miss him, and that's okay to miss him. And it sucks. Like, it's okay to just be sad about that, and just kind of grieve the future that you thought your family was going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things I like to ask is, what are some things that people did for you that was outstanding that you want to kind of point out after you guys lost Maddox, or even now? Like, I like to point out people that like said really nice things to us when we were pregnant with our son after our loss.
Okay.
So if there's anything that you noticed that people are like, that was outstanding that you wanted to give a shout out to.
Yeah. Well, like everybody in our life, we are so lucky to have such an amazing group of friends around us, and like our family. My husband's parents, they bought us a deep freeze and stocked it full of food right after Maddox was born. Oh my gosh,
that is amazing.
So that was amazing, even though like myself, I had no appetite at all, but that was incredible. And then my mother-in-law, she has her house cleaned weekly, and she like sent her cleaner to our house the 1 week just to tidy up the house for us. And that was so,
you guys, that
nice.
I cannot, like, cleaning needs to happen, food needs to happen still.
Yes.
And you just don't have any desire to do any of that. There's no ambition or anything. And so those things are, if you want to do something nice, food and a cleaner, actually. Yeah,
it was so nice.
So nice.
And then my mom being down here, like, she took my oldest to go do stuff, because to him, I mean, his brother's gone, but I think that's only something that maybe crosses his mind for a couple seconds in a day. Mm-hmm. And he's ready to go play and do stuff. So my mom would take him and do stuff with him during the day, get him out of the house and give me some time. So just having her there, and like she did like laundry and just the stuff that I just didn't want to do. I, on a normal day, am not a huge fan of choosing what we're having for dinner. So she did all of that for us, which was amazing. And then just our friends just constantly reaching out, like, what do you guys need? Do you need anything? Do you want to go do something? Like, we can take Gray. Like, even though for me, I'm like, I want him home with me because I want to snuggle on him and everything. Just the thought that like anybody to reach out and say, whatever we can do to try to take an ounce of this pain and make like your life just the tiniest bit easier. Like, don't feel like you can't ask. Like, we're here to help you. Like, always knew we had such a great group of friends, but especially going through something like that, still to this day, like, our two really good friends on Maddox's birthday, they sent us a box of crumble cookies.
Oh, they did.
And like, that was just like, you guys, like, thanks for remembering.
That is huge. You know, if you remember, that is, it feels so nice when people are like, even heck, a text message. Yeah. Even that is so nice. Just to be like,
My mother-in-law, she would send me flowers on the 13th of every month leading up to his first birthday. And because, like, with my oldest, you do the monthly posts and updates. So she sent me, like, a beautiful arrangement of flowers every month for the first year.
Oh my gosh.
And with, like, a card on it that had something to do with, that month of how old he would have been. And I would always post, a Instagram story of, like, you would be 2 months today, 3, whatever. And just, again, all of our friends would always respond to those stories, whether it was, like, a short message of, like, I'm thinking about you guys, or just a heart emoji. Like, to hear people say, I'm thinking about you, for me goes so far than, like, someone being like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's like, you're right, you can't. And you can't imagine.
You don't want to imagine.
And you don't.
It's horrifying.
So just to people say, like, I'm thinking about you, or just, like, the really subtle things, it made me feel like he mattered.
Yes.
He was, here for a very short time, but he still mattered. My husband's aunt, her thing that she posts every year on her daughter's birthday is the Dr. Seuss, like, a person's a person no matter how small. And I think that that's so special, because there's a lot of people out there that unfortunately don't look at it the same way that they look at, a infant loss or child loss, or at any loss. And it's wrong. They mattered. They were here. Yeah. We held them,
They're our babies.
They're our babies. So they hold just as much of a spot in our heart as our children that are here with us.
Yeah. Amazing. So I'm so grateful that you have a good support system around you, because I've been on the receiving end of that as well. And I'm just so grateful that people are kind and thoughtful in our lives. So it's like, and not everybody has that. And that's the thing that can be a little rough. Yeah. On the flip side, was there anything that people have said that has not been as helpful? Or, I mean, I know that you've already alluded to some things at work, because work can be really tricky too, like navigating that. But are there any other things that you're like, maybe don't say that, or maybe don't do that thing?
Yeah, I think really the only thing besides what I was told with work of how a living baby's mom, that's just so wrong on so many levels. Yes. But I have been told before of, like, please try again.
Oh,
and I'm just like, within the first week or so of losing Maddox, it's just like, what?
Okay, so let's just be Captain Obvious here. Why would that not be such a great thing to say?
Right. I know. Like, I never got the, well, you can try again. It was, please try again. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're like, I just had a baby.
Yeah.
And this was a baby.
Yeah. And I can't even imagine right now in this moment trying again, because what if the same thing happens again? And then that was, I guess, more so once I was pregnant again after loss, was I would get stuff. This really bothered me. And we chose to we told our immediate family about our daughter's pregnancy really, really late. And then we never posted anything on social media until she was born. Yeah. But there were tons of people that didn't know that we were having another one, because I didn't want there to be so much anxiety and fear around my pregnancy and if something was going to happen to this baby, because I was like, that's putting something out into the universe. And I was terrified of that. I know it's hard for people not to worry about you, but I didn't want to hear if people were anxious, or, like, I didn't really want people to ask me, like, how are you feeling? Because it's not like, oh, how are you feeling? How things, it's like, there's a negative, like, meaning behind it of, like, is everything okay? Like,
that is so interesting. I've never thought of that before, but because we were very conservative too. We told nobody that we were pregnant. It was, and I think it was kind of to protect ourselves, but but you're right. People, there's like this, oh, is everything going okay?
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah. They, like, tiptoe kind of around you, and it makes for me at least, it made me feel like, do you think I'm broken?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
I lost a baby before. Like I've also carried a full-term living child. Like I'm capable of doing this. But one thing that was like said was like just putting out there of like, well, you know, if something happens to this one too, like at least, you know, you can get through it. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I could get through
Yeah.
it a
You're like,
second time.
I might. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I was able to do it the first time, but oh my gosh, was it so hard. And it still is so hard. It's going to be hard for the rest of my life.
Yep.
So that was one. That
Yeah.
was like,
that one I can, yeah. Though
yeah.
that's, when you make an assumption about what somebody can and can't do, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Those are good ones. Those
Yeah.
are good ones.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible, but it's kind of
Yeah.
good too. So now that you have your daughter and your other son, have you noticed any things that you've tried to do to like include Maddox, first of all, and then second, have you noticed anything like any sort of guilt creeping in? I don't know. I felt so much guilt when I had our baby. After our loss.
So as far as like including him, whenever we do any type of like photos, we always bring his picture with us. Yeah. So my maternity photos, we brought a picture of him. Last year, my husband's paternal grandfather passed away a few months after Maddox did, and we did like a giant like extended
big
family photo. And we brought Maddox's picture to that. We like at Christmas time, like we did a stocking for him. We had Gray, you know, write a letter to Santa of like what his brother would want, and had Santa bring him a little like race car that Gray had asked for him. And then his pictures are everywhere. Like anything that I see on like social media that has anything to do with like, you know, stillbirth, pregnancy loss, I always like share it.
Yeah.
And I have a whole reel just for Maddox on or a highlight reel on my Instagram for him. And then, you know, we talk about him all the time. We tell him good night. You know, we like openly and positively talk about him and answer any questions that like our oldest might have about him. And I had bought a few clothing pieces for him prior to him passing. So we made sure to like keep those. And like whenever we pull them out for like our daughter, we're like, oh, these were your brothers. You know, these were baby Maddox's, and these were bought for him. And then what was the other?
If you noticed any guilt coming in.
Yeah. So I feel like after my daughter was born, things have naturally just played out. And I haven't had a ton of guilt since she's been here. During my pregnancy with her, though, I struggled very hard about the fact that, like, you're not supposed to be here had your brother not passed away. Because we were going to be done after him. And had he had been born when he was supposed to be, just like with the calendar and everything, like we just wouldn't have had a child that soon after.
Yeah.
He would have been a month old.
Yes.
Right. So I struggled with that of how am I going to resent you because you are supposed to be here. That's why you're here. But also you're not, because if your brother hadn't passed away, we wouldn't have tried again for another baby.
Yeah.
And I struggled so hard with that. I was so worried that I wasn't going to love her. Yeah. Which now I'm just like, how? Like, how is that possible? But that was really hard. And that's kind of, I've worked through that in therapy. But it's so hard to imagine this other little baby that's a part of your family that you love so much and you're so grateful for that is here. But it came at the cost of going through the most traumatic thing we could have ever experienced going through. Yeah. And that's hard because I, to an extent, believe in the saying everything happens for a reason. With Maddox passing away, I don't claim that. I'm very much like, no, you shouldn't have passed away. Yeah. You're supposed to be here. Every baby is supposed to be here and get to grow up and live, a full, happy life. And it's not fair that, these little innocent bodies don't get that.
Yeah.
So that's hard. But now that she's here and whatnot, I'm so grateful that she's here. I'm grateful that I was able to go through a pregnancy after loss, as hard as it was, and be mentally somewhat stable.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and still be able to like talk about Maddox and include him in the way that we can. And it's just our family, just it looks different to
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, you brought up a lot of things for me because I was like, oh my gosh, I've had exactly those same thoughts because Felix probably wouldn't be here unless we had lost our son, Brandon. So, and yeah, there was definitely some guilt there too.
Right.
So,
just even like the butterfly effect alone, like even had Maddox been born in July and then, you know, a few years later went by and we did decide we wanted to have another child, it wouldn't have been Sophie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like, what do you mean?
Yes.
Like it wouldn't have been her. And at the end of the day, of course, I wish like I could have all 3 of my kids here with me.
Yeah.
But it's not our reality, and it's just, it's the way it is. Yeah.
Oh man. This has been such a good conversation, and I feel like I've learned so much. And I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Victoria, thank you so much for your time today. It has been so good to sit and chat with you. Like it really has been, and it's so fun when it's a local.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I was like, when you said, yeah, I want to come to your house, I was like, yay!
I know, so fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And Maddox is in good hands. Like I feel like he's got a good mom and dad and a good little family that just loves him, and I think that is super rad.
Thanks.
Thank you.